Don't homeschool your kids in the Roanoke Valley until you watch this.
Are you considering homeschooling your kids in the Roanoke Valley and wondering what the options are? Well, you got to watch this video so you can find out all about it.
Yeah, we're going to teach you today. And special thanks, we're here on location at Roanoke Salem Homeschool Academy, where they have over 70 families join each week. And they have this homeschool community. I can't wait to dive into this topic with you. Stay tuned.
Hey, real quick, it's Hal and Chris. If you're interested in buying or selling in Roanoke, make sure you reach out to us with the contact information on the screen.
And be sure to take the neighborhood quiz that's in the description below to find out what part of Roanoke will be best for you. We're joined today by Rebecca with Roanoke Salem Homeschool Academy. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
This is a hot topic. A lot of our clients that are moving here are always interested in schools, of course, right? There's traditional schools, there's public schools, private schools, and then there's homeschool options. So we wanted to really dig into the homeschool community. Thank you for having us at our co-op, your co-op today. But let's get back to basics. What is homeschooling? I mean, homeschooling traditionally is when parents or a family chooses to teach and educate children in a non-traditional classroom setting rather than public or private schools. And I was interested when I did my research that it's increased more than 50% in the last decade. Over 2.5 million children in U.S. are homeschooled and about 60,000 in Virginia alone. So that's pretty exciting. But really, why do people homeschool? So Rebecca, I'll defer to you on this. What have your families said? Why are people choosing homeschool instead of traditional schooling?
It's a variety of reasons. We have a lot of students with special needs, and they're having a tough time getting the individual instruction that they need in a traditional setting. We have families who have strong religious beliefs and they want to be able to disciple their kids and their faith. We have some who just want the flexibility, some who want to travel. They just want their kids to be able to focus on, specific academic endeavors. And some who want their kids to take a slower pace, but maybe even a faster pace. And sometimes it just depends on the subject. Some kids are accelerating in math, but maybe they need a little more time in writing. Whereas in a traditional school, you're going to be in your traditional grade level, the traditional academics associated with that grade level.
Right.
Whereas with homeschooling, you can really customize it
to
the child. So all kinds of reasons.
A bunch of different reasons.
Diet. I've had some who they really want their kids to have a specific diet, and so they want to keep them, in line with that. And social influences. Some are, concerned about that, and so.
Wow.
And a lot of it is time, that we just want them more time to invest in our kids.
That's true.
So it really is. It's a huge variety.
That's interesting. I bet too, I'd be curious to know the research with the impact of homeschooling after COVID too. I bet there was an increase.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of families here, and that's how they started.
Okay.
Was they thought, you know what, I can do this. I'm kind of doing it anyway, so we can just keep going with it. So yeah, we have a lot of 2020 homeschoolers that's when they started.
So there's been a rise in homeschooling, which is an exciting trend. But let's talk about the benefits of homeschooling, because really I'm not very wise to this subject, but what I do know is that parents can invest in what their children are really excited and accelerated in and show interest and passion in. And I've always heard, of course, the flexibility. So that seems to be a theme. But what are some of the other benefits of homeschooling versus traditional?
Well, one that comes to mind, and it's actually a lot of people are concerned about this, is social interaction.
Yes, I am. Tell me about that.
So the thing with the social interaction, what I've seen with homeschooling is that with homeschoolers, a lot of the social interaction starts in the home. Like getting along with your own family sometimes can be harder than even outsiders. So really in a homeschooling environment, kids they have to get along, they have to interact with their own family. And also kids of all ages. Because here at our program, we have pre-K up to, seniors in high school.
Amazing.
And we've seen that a lot, that they all interact with each other. Like I have 2 little ones, and sometimes the teens will just really jump in with my kids and help out and push them on the swing. And, you might not see that necessarily with kids who are typically only with peers of their own age group, whereas here, where they're interacting with kids of all ages. So that's really one benefit that I see, is that, the kids are comfortable talking to older folks, jumping in with the little ones versus, kind of being confined to the peers of their same age group. So, and I really feel like the quality of social interaction is just different. So maybe there's not always as much quantity as it would be, but I feel like the quality, is really there. And we have smaller class sizes, so the kids really can get to know each other, on a more personal level.
What about benefits academically?
Oh, like I said, because you can pace it and you can choose the curriculum. So if you have a student who's wanting to focus on trade school, and they kind of need some of those academics, you can kind of hone that, where they can spend more time focusing on the hands-on aspects versus some of the more, theory kind of thing. But like one of my kids is French. She's very much into the French language, so she's had a lot of time to. She's gone to Holland's University, and she's done French chat groups and things, where she's getting these opportunities where she may not, otherwise. So she's really had a lot of time to spend on the French language because she just loves it. And my 2 older kids, they love music, so they spend a lot of time with their guitar and learning new songs, and they get to spend more time with that, in addition to their academics. And they both work. I have one who works at a kennel and one working at a local horse farm.
Wow.
And so those skills, just work skills, money, they're learning now to manage their money, and they're doing this, at a young age. Like I said, these are just benefits that they have, because they have the time and they have the flexibility. And they can do, some of their schoolwork on the weekends if they want to get some more work hours in during the week. So, so we have that flexibility. So
that brings me to the next point, which is types. When I think of homeschooling, I get a little overwhelmed with all the different types, the different routes you can go, what you can choose. I think it's fantastic that you can really tailor your homeschool experience based on what your family needs. But let's talk about types of homeschooling a little bit, because we're here at a co-op today. And if you're not familiar with that, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But co-ops are not the only way, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've known families who they do everything in-house, and the parents are teaching everything. Sometimes mom and dad. Sometimes it's mom, typically dads, are typically working. But then we have others who they barter. So maybe, one person is really good at math and their friend is good at something at, language arts. And so they can kind of barter among themselves. And then obviously we have the co-op method, which I know we'll talk about. And some co-ops are set up where all of the parents have to participate and teach. Our co-op's not set up that way. We do have tuition, and we really try to keep it affordable because our families, we're not necessarily the highest economic level. So we know, we want to try to keep it affordable. We want as many people to take part as possible. Some people do it online. There's a unschooling kind of movement.
Heard about this.
Yeah.
Which is child or student led.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of a lot more freedom, that the student kind of picks, and it's more project based learning.
Okay.
I have some friends, and they were both math majors. They were math professors, but their daughter, they're homeschooling her, and her math is all financial, like it's financial planning. So they don't even have a curriculum for their math, which I'm like, wow, how do you do that? But yeah, so some people are not necessarily curriculum driven. It's just more project based learning. And obviously with the internet, there's many resources out there available. Some people do it all online.
Wow.
Asynchronous, synchronous classes online. So there's many different methods.
And that also brought me to the point of there's also religious affiliated curriculums and groups, opportunities, and there's secular as well.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Oh, yes. So you can find, like I said, there's different resources and different groups depending on your needs, and like I said, and the curriculum that you can find as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of options out there.
Very good. Well, all those types sound great, but I'm going to be honest, a little overwhelming, especially since I'm a planner. But what I loved when we talked earlier is this quote. You got to listen to this quote that Rebecca said just off the cuff. She says, if you're moving to the area and homeschooling is something you've entertained, this community shows you that you're capable of homeschooling. And that kind of blew me away because it doesn't sound like you have to have a master's degree and you have to be a stay-at-home mom or dad to achieve this, that there are resources available in the Roanoke Valley to really help and come alongside you. Is that what you found to be the case?
Yes, and and making it affordable, and some different places they have their opportunity for you to teach. And we have a lot of electives. So we have courses like we have a YouTube class, we have gardening and canning, we have dance. So even if you're not an academia, like if there's something that you're passionate about, there's a place for you to be able to teach. So we have those resources available if you need for financial to make it more affordable.
Gotcha.
So
what about the Greater Roanoke Valley though? What resources are available if you raise your hand and say, I'm going to homeschool?
Well, there's a wonderful organization called the Greater Roanoke Home Educators, GRHE, and I send people to them all the time when people call me and they're just getting started and they don't know even how to start with the legalities. I send them to GRHE. They have meetings for people who are new to homeschooling. They have an email blast that goes out every Monday with different classes. All of the co-ops, all the organizations are all listed right there with all the websites. So that's a great resource. There's also what's called HSLDA, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and they're nationwide, but they're experts on each state because the legalities differ from state to state. So they're I think $25, $30 a year to join for an annual membership, and they're amazing. They will back you up, and any questions I've ever had, they get back to me very quickly on that. So
Okay.
HSO, so GRHE as far as local resources, and they have a Facebook page too. So Facebook is a great place to connect with homeschooling in this area, but also HSLDA.
Great. And I've heard that GRHE
Yes.
has a great publication, a free newsletter that goes out by email with all the
Yes.
events too.
Yes.
So you can kind of come to
homeschool
those.
dances,
Oh, that's
like I
great.
said, different classes, field trips,
Nice.
meetups, you name it.
Okay.
I could be out every day if I wanted to.
I like
for
that.
Sure.
So when I think about homeschool too, I also think about that social component that we were talking about
Right.
because it's really important to have a well-rounded child.
Right.
But I was so happy to see the resources available. I'm going to quickly go through these extracurricular activities you can sign your children up for and be involved as much or as little. Just like you said, you could be out every day.
Right.
But sports-wise, there's Roanoke Valley Homeschool Recreation. They offer soccer and basketball. And then Southwest Virginia Conquerors, they offer a host of sports like soccer, volleyball, cross country, swimming, basketball. That's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Pretty competitive,
Yeah, and
I'm
they're
sure.
pretty competitive.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then the Roanoke Valley Homeschool Orchestra. This is a newer organization for students. And then not to mention things like local libraries, museums. They cater to the homeschool community in the way of offerings of programs, events, and in those non-traditional times where maybe it's more convenient and less crowded too. I bet.
Yes. Yeah. The local libraries, Roanoke County has had specific homeschooling classes and clubs that they've put together. So, and
That's great.
there's a homeschool bowling league.
Wow.
So it's just, it's all.
That's great.
I think there's a homeschool band that had started or was going to
Wow.
start. So really all
that's
kinds
neat.
of,
That's
interesting
cool.
stuff.
Community centers and recreational programs, classes and activities like sports, arts, and sciences, and then meetups and special interest groups. I can definitely see this, like hikers, Flourish Music Co-op, where they
Yes.
teach musical programs and lessons, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they have a performance, so they'll have times
Aw.
for the family and friends to come out.
That's so nice. And then like Home Educators of Rainbow Forest, they may have a support group. So
Yes.
have you heard
Yes.
of that?
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, they're
Okay.
great too. They have graduation ceremonies for if and you're in the community and you don't have a co-op, you can have a
Okay.
graduation ceremony with
Oh,
them. So yeah,
That's nice.
yeah, that's great.
So I want to really dig into this co-op theme because Roanoke Salem Homeschool Academy is hosting us today. I think this is, if we were to homeschool, I don't know, Hal's not here, so I can't vouch for what he would say. But I think we would really enjoy the benefits of a co-op because my kids would be hearing from other teachers, authoritarians, and they would have that social aspect and get a lot of the core classes. So co-ops in their essence are just essentially groups of family that get together and they teach curriculum together and kind of volunteer. Is that accurate?
Yes, yeah. Like I said, cooperative. So we're kind of all, working together. So I was a Spanish major. So like when I kind of started, I was, okay, I can teach Spanish. And then, my husband is a web designer, so I can teach this. And then, we have other people who come in. I was a math teacher. I love math. So, okay, well, you teach math and, you send your kids to me and you teach that. And so we're just kind of all taking turns. And some of our parents don't teach, but they're helping. Like we have some parents who are helping organize our graduation ceremony. We do lunches as fundraisers for our church because our church hosts us totally for free. So we want to love offering to them. So some of our parents will help volunteer to put together meals and fundraisers. So we have different activities and things like for our parents who aren't teaching, but to participate as well.
Okay.
So we're kind of all pitching in together to make this community. And we're so blessed. We have people from the community, retired folks. We have a gentleman who was an engineer, and he comes in and does our hands-on electronics class. And we have another gentleman who's he's the Roanoke Valley chess president, and he's retired. So he does our chess class. So, like I said, we've been lucky in our church congregation. We've had our personal finance. One of our elders is a financial planner, so he's coming in and teaching our personal finance class. So it's really just the community. So retired individuals who want to kind of be part of the community and investing in the next generation.
Right.
So
and I was
really
happy to see fathers too walking around campus, volunteering, teaching.
Oh yes, yeah. My husband is very involved. We run this together, so he's really been rallying the dads.
Yeah.
Because I've been in other programs where the dads kind of aren't. They're kind of intimidated, but yeah, we have our dads are definitely growing in their presence here. So we love having dads here and all that they bring and really making this about the family. We really celebrate the family and we respect the family. And so it's great to see the whole families, here with us. So.
That's great. And so y'all are relatively new. Within the last 2 years, you've opened, and it sounds like that you're offering, just like those different types we talked about earlier, of ways to homeschool, the co-ops have different ways or types that they subscribe to. Y'all offer classic education, is that correct?
No, we're an a la carte model.
Okay.
So you kind of come. Yeah, we do have some classes that have a more classical flavor, but we're not like classical overall. So the curriculum, it just really depends on the class and the teacher.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can pick and choose which classes that you want to take. Some other programs, you'll come and you'll have their curriculum for the whole day. And they'll tell you, what your schedule, what classes you will and won't take. Whereas with our program, you can pick and choose. So,
so you could do core classes, your traditional math, English, foreign language, things like that. And then extracurricular as well. Is that what you're saying?
So we offer all of it, but then we have some people who come for the academics, some for the extracurricular, and then some who stay with us all day.
That's great.
Yes. So, and we have the game room, and we have our teen lounge and our study hall. So if kids have a break during the day, they can have some time to socialize. And we do have some supervision, in there. So we've got some games and we've got art projects that they can do, the younger kids can do in there during their breaks throughout the day. So they get a little bit of everything.
But they're not here all week because that's more of a traditional setup. So tell us about your setup.
Yeah, so we do instruction is 1 day a week. And then the students will be given their homework and they'll do that throughout the week. And some instructors will do Zoom meetings with students and meet up with students even through the week if they need more support. But typically our curriculums are designed for the students to be able to do their reading and questions and homework throughout the week independently. And again, that can be done you can make your own schedule as far as getting that part done. And then Mondays is for instruction and presentations, and our theater class, that's where this is the opportunity for them to rehearse. Wow. And so they'll, those things that need to be done live will be done here on Mondays.
That's so exciting.
We're together. So.
It seems like y'all offer so very much. I love learning about the different co-ops and how they have a specialized viewpoint or perspective on things, and they focus on one thing in particular, like the forest school, which is really cool. We could talk about that. But it sounds like you have a wide array of offerings for children and students. So I'm just curious, what was it that made you really want to get into and start this homeschool? Because this is not an easy feat, and you've done a wonderful job.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, in my former life, I was an ESL, English as Second Language teacher, and I ran an after-school program in Charlotte for refugee and immigrant students.
Wow.
And I had a lot of fun with that. I had a grant that funded that program in East Charlotte. And then I moved here, and then I began homeschooling my kids and, just looking for community. And then our church here at West Salem, I just, noticing the building, and I was like, wow, this is such a great space. If we were to host, a co-op type program here, and the church, graciously allowed us to come in. And and they've been great. And so like I said, we just started advertising, and we really didn't know who was going to come.
Sure.
We didn't know what it was going to be. we were like, it might just be us and 5 or 10 other people. But we just really stepped out, and and then it just all started to come together, started piecing together, and so we started last year, and then and we've been able to grow from 50 families to now 70 families.
Wow.
So we're excited to just see where things go, and
That's great.
The theater class. We're excited. This is our first year with theater, so we have a Christmas performance coming up in December. So.
Well, I can tell by your numbers you're doing something right, but I can tell by the smiles on people's faces and the camaraderie in the hallways as we've been walking around the campus. It's just been wonderful. I mean, it feels like such a good environment. So your heart is in the right place with this.
Like I said, we do enjoy it, and I love it that my whole family is here. And like I said, my husband and I run this together. And we have two teens, and they love it. They really do. So it's been a good fit, for our family, and just getting to know other people and seeing the relationships that other people are building with each other. That has been very heartwarming to just kind of sit back and watch, and just see what's happening.
Good.
So, and I know that you got a chance to interview some of our parents, and that's great because they really see all the nooks and crannies and all the little things that I don't even see. So I'm glad that you were able to get their perspective as well.
They were happy to volunteer too. I can't wait for you to see that part. That's awesome. Right. So it sounds like y'all have a great program here at Roanoke Salem Homeschool Academy. There's a lot of other programs. I just wanted to touch on some of the other co-ops I found. But Rebecca, you were suggesting for a comprehensive list of all opportunities and resources to really check that GRHE website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So here's a few. Peak Christian Academy. It's a hybrid homeschool that focuses on things like language arts, science, history, and math. Valley Forest School, very interesting concept where you're learning 100% outdoors. I think that's awesome. They have 2 locations, one in Fincastle, the farm school, and then Catawba Forest School. What a great opportunity for kids to learn outside. Classical Conversations. This is more of an offering across they have offerings throughout the whole world. The co-ops are located. Cornerstone Classical Academy. We have many friends that attend Cornerstone. They really like that. It's the only classical hybrid academy in Roanoke, and that's both homeschooling and classroom education. So really interesting. The Road Less Traveled Academy. Christian homeschoolers, they come together. They really love learning. That's what their website is promoting. Gather and Grow Co-op, which is a unit study-based collaborative and homeschool co-op. And I just think that this overall, like Rebecca said, I'm gonna keep that quote in case later we want to homeschool. And I encourage you, if homeschooling is something that you've entertained, this community shows you that you are capable, right, Rebecca?
Yes, definitely. We support each other, and like I said, we point each other to different resources, as we need. So
great. Well, thank you so much for having us, and we'll see you on the next video.